All right, I'm going to call to order then the Regional Governing Board of the Southwest Vermont Regional Technical School District for Monday, August 15, 2016. We will stick with the agenda as posted. All right, do we have any dial-ins that you're aware of this evening for calls? Okay.
Nothing.
And I want to welcome everybody here tonight. Thanks for coming out. We have a forum, so we'll proceed. Public comments. Do we have any public comments? All right, none present, so we'll proceed with the agenda, consent agenda. In the packet are the minutes from the RGB full board meeting for June 20th. Our last meeting was June 20th. Can I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Francis and seconded by Ricky. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting them the minutes as posted, please signify by raising your hand. It is unanimous. Payroll warrants, number 100, number 2, number 101, number 3, and 1003.
So moved.
All right, moved by Leanne and seconded by Ricky. All in favor of the payroll warrants, please signify by raising your hand on those. And then the last one is the vendor warrants, number 1002 and 104. You'll notice that I did sign those already because of the 2-month lapse in those. But if there's any questions, I did go over them in detail. We can discuss those. Can I have a motion, first of all, to accept those? Second. Moved by Francis and seconded by Ricky. Any questions on any of those vendors?
One comment. Thank you for getting them
Got straightened out, and then the display is much easier, much nicer.
Thank you.
You can zoom in on them as well, yes. All in favor then of the vendor warrants as presented, signify by raising your hands, please. And that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. Anything that we should be aware of on the cash flow, the revenues and expenses, and I have not had a chance to look through those, I'm sorry, stuff, but anything new in that area?
No, I'm just wrapping up the year end. We filed the annual stat report with the city today.
Okay.
There has, other than the vendor ones, there hasn't been much activity. Just receiving prior year receivables for this year.
Good. Good.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So then on the percent of the budget that's already balanced, or we have things left?
For this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Committee reports. Did we have any committee meetings? We had an executive committee meeting, okay? And that consisted of Ricky and Ed, and we talked about the approval of the roofing job, all right? As you recall, you gave us authority to check with both Mount Anthony and with our building and grounds person and make sure that we're all on the same sheet of music. And we did that. We met and we were confirmed, and the roofing job proceeded as well as the security work. And so that's actually, everything is 100% complete. And we even went to phase 2 of the roofing job, and that's 100% complete.
We're just waiting on the warranty.
We're just waiting on the final inspections of those. But we got 2 roofs for the price of one, it looks like. We did well in that area, and we made some strides there. Our security is now tight, and I'm going to let Mike give you a little update as to how that all comes together. But that has been accomplished as well. We had, I think, 2 meetings of the executive board to finalize all of that and move ahead. So we made some good progress this summer in that area. Leon?
So the only thing I want to say is I got lots of comments that they didn't like the way it went between the 2 districts.
Who did
The public people, that's what I brought up in terms of the concern between the bids, between the 2 districts, didn't go over very well in the communities out there. That's all.
Can you be more specific as to?
They thought it should have happened as one complete package like I was talking about, as opposed to separate items the way it was broken up. And that was what committee was supposed to go look at and talk about and meet and discuss, you know, how that occurred. And so all I'm saying is we've gone and did what we did, but the comments that I've gotten from the folks that watched the tape were concerned that, about how it took place between
Okay.
the two. And this is one, and I'll say that at Mount Anthony as well.
Because we are two separate school districts.
Right, I understand that, but
By
I'm
law, we have to, let me finish. By law, we have to go to bid
saying.
for our portion of this.
Right.
And they have to go to bid for their portion.
Right.
There's no way you can consolidate that bid. It has to be two separate entities bidding their own jobs. And I think what you're trying to say is, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but are they upset that it didn't all go to the same vendor?
No, it didn't happen all under the same cap, and it was proportional split, you know, along that line. So
Okay.
that's all. That was what was concerned, is that if we went to one and then we had a certain percentage of it and somebody else had a certain percentage, and then the second part of it went to the same person or another one, and we had a certain percentage and a certain percentage, but it broke out separately along that line. We could do something separately again without having to consult the others in a joint billing is what the concern was. See, this is a joint billing, so it's normally, it would be happening in a different way if the billings wouldn't joint.
Well, it would be a single bid awarded to probably a single vendor if
Yeah.
it was a joint building. But we're not,
Yeah.
we're a separate building, we're a separate district. We have to follow the rules of the state that tell us we have to go to bid and they have to go to bid. We did, as a group, consult, as the board directed it, with the buildings and grounds person, Paul, is it?
Yeah.
Paul, who met with us a couple times and me a couple times to assure us that he was totally satisfied with the company and the work they were doing, as well as with Mount Anthony's, and that the work was going smoothly in both cases.
That wasn't a question. That wasn't the question at all about the work and so forth along that line. It was the process by which it occurred on one roof is what was being addressed. And I said, this is one building, even though we own part of it and paid and allocated to one part, and that one's allocated to one. You got two different groups working on the same building. That's what the issue was, that people are saying they don't understand why they didn't care about us being our own, but we have one person you went to help prepare all of that, and we have one roof.
Okay. I don't know how else we could handle it, Leon, to satisfy them. I'm sorry that the public feels that way, but I hope they understand that we have the roof job accomplished, we have it accomplished under budget, and we have it accomplished according to the satisfaction of the buildings and grounds director. And now we're just waiting for the final approval in the inspection. So I think we did the best we could under the circumstances.
How much did we save?
Stephanie will have to answer that one for
How
me.
much did we save? We had budgeted for one portion of the roof to be done for about $80,000, and we had both portions done for, we doubled the square footage, so we saved half.
40,000.
You saved 40,000.
Essentially, by being
Right.
able to achieve twice as much square footage.
So-
And that, I don't know how, I don't think that would have made a difference whether we had gone in a joint, I'm not sure, in a joint bid or, separately from,
Does the remainder of that budgeted money go back into the building fund?
it wasn't budgeted. It was it was decided by the finance committee during budget season that it was going to be used out of the building and grounds, and then we put the money into the fund. Remember, we asked the public for $40,000 to add to the fund. So it just stays in there to continue to
It's just
develop
not taken
interest
out.
Yeah,
until we
I
use
was
it
just
again.
wondering
Yeah,
which fund it was coming out of.
The capital.
The capital.
Capital improvement funds
Yeah.
that we add to every year. Yeah.
And my question was. the
That
actual-
money will
What
stay.
wasn't spent
Will
stays
stay.
in that fund,
Correct.
right, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns on the roof project? All right. Then we'll move on to, and there were no other committee reports, action items. We have in the action items 2 nominations, and those are in the Dropbox. If you want to take a look at those, bring those up. We have a nomination for the design and manufacturing engineering to replace Bruce Gabris, who resigned over the summer. And we have a nomination for a para replacement of.
You want them both at the same time?
No,
I'll
we'll
move
do-
them.
We'll, we can do them both at the same time, Mr. Chairman.
I'll motion.
I'll second them, so we'll discuss it.
It's been moved by Leanne and seconded by Ricky. And open for discussion. Let's start with the integrated design, manufacturing, and engineering.
Give a little background on the candidate, if that would be helpful.
That would be.
It's here on the nomination form, but the nomination is for Adam Canastrossi. Adam is a MAU and CDC graduate in 2010, attended Hudson Valley Community College for precision machining. Graduated there in 2012, and most recently employed at Cambridge Valley Machining over in Cambridge. Adam is on board. He started his teacher prep program 3 weeks ago. There's a 2-week period at VTC where all new teachers, career and tech ed, have to start unless they already have a teaching degree. He's completed those 2 weeks. Was here today actually working in the classroom, starting to get the shop ready for the new school year. So we're very lucky to have found Adam. This is a hard position to fill. We interviewed 5 people and 6 applicants, and Adam is our top choice.
As I've asked so many in the past, have we got a background check on that?
Yes, his online background check, which we do internally, the state system is already completed. His fingerprints are in process.
That's the important part.
They are all done. He's on top of his game.
So
everything's
when can we
been-
expect fingerprint background?
They can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 to 8 weeks.
Isn't that amazing?
It just
We've been-
depends. There's no.
We've been beating this banner since 2000, and it was 6 months. Yeah, we're down to 6 to 8 weeks. In this technology age, I can't believe it takes that long.
I've seen them come back in a few days, and I've seen the ones come back sometimes 4 to
It's
5
just-
weeks. Depends. I don't know
Blows my mind.
what the holdup is sometimes, but he went down. They've been done for at least 3 weeks now, so hopefully they'll be back by the time school starts.
Okay.
I guess we don't have any control over the state.
Here's the problem,
Yeah.
okay? Perhaps they'll be back by the start of the school year. If they're not, do we stop him from teaching?
No,
And why don't we?
he,
Because desperate people do desperate things. The bottom line is, without that background check, you don't know but what you're putting in Charles Manson in that room.
He's locked up, right?
well, they locked up. He ain't in now. I mean,
There is a para-educator in that classroom.
Right, but I just want to clear up, there is a completed background check before any candidate is in with students. The fingerprint check, it is another form of background check, it's just more of a thorough background check.
It's very thorough.
Depending on what states people have lived in, that's also determines how long it will take just for that. But we do have access to the Vermont Criminal Justice online system so that we do put in a person's social security number, date of birth, all their vitals, and we do get back whether there is any Vermont criminal record or not. And that's current as of the day that we run that. So it is some form of assurance that there is no Vermont record. But
And there's been quite a lot of late where teachers have had issues in certain states, and that information hasn't been passed on. And, it's like passing the trashes, I think is the term. And now there seems to be a lot more people speaking up saying, we gotta do something about this, even though it's probably not good to ruin a teacher's reputation. We really should tell the next school that hires them just what they did do in the past. But that isn't always the case. And all I'm trying to say is I've been beating this banner since 2000. And everybody says, well, you gotta have them teaching classes. Well, that's a desperate move as far as I'm concerned. The rule is very clear. You need a background check before you start teaching. And we don't always have it.
You're talking about a completed one.
Correct. And the fingerprints are the most important because those follow you into every state. Where just a background check in Vermont just says, no, there was nothing that happened in Vermont. But that doesn't mean down in Massachusetts they didn't do something. You don't get that thoroughness without them fingerprints, which are the telltale sign. And again, probably 999,000 times, you're never gonna have an issue. I just don't wanna be the person that hired that one that is the issue.
Don't the fingerprints go and they're run against the FBI database?
Yes.
So it would cover all the states that have reported to the FBI. So you are getting a complete check, and it just takes the FBI a certain number of hours at different times to complete the check.
But just in all fairness and honestly, we've done what we've asked to be done here in terms of being able to prepare the school for readiness and to look at the information available to you and to the candidates and make the decision based on that. And so I see everything that we got in place, and it meets the criteria that we have for being able to start the ball rolling, to have somebody in place and be able to allow things to continue on and be completed to meet all the requirements, but this is not a showstopper.
Is there a state recommendation or law that prevents us from having a person?
No.
So we're in compliance.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we are.
The Agency of Education does require fingerprint checks for licensure, so that, once that's back, that also goes to the state. I mean, but we're kind of held by the time it takes for these things to go back.
That's right.
And this person is not licensed yet?
Correct. I've applied for an apprenticeship license for them with a professional learning plan that we are waiting for the state to approve, but I have no indication that they wouldn't approve it. It is approved through Vermont Technical College and the director of the school program, so pretty standard.
I'd like to just clarify one point. We're not talking about this particular candidate, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's make this perfectly clear. And we don't want him to think that, all right?
No,
This
hiring
is-
in general.
This is an issue about the policy, the procedure of hiring. So, and as I think as Leanne has stated, we followed everything according to policy and procedures that we've set as guidelines. And Ricky has been making an issue. I can remember years ago, you making a point, you think everyone should apply for a gun because you'd get your approval right away, if you did that.
Yep.
But we're not going down that route, but we are going to, expedite as quickly as we can any of these issues. We followed the procedure. We do have a background check in place. We're just waiting for one portion of that fingerprints to finalize. So we're not talking about any particular candidate here. All of them we're talking about. We're not in the process.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Please, I
Yeah.
didn't mean anything bad against that.
I don't want them to have
No.
any type of impression like
No.
that, because we're very fortunate, in my opinion, to get this talented young man on board with us.
Agreed.
Mike, it looked like he was your SolidWorks instructor for adult ed.
Yes, thank you. Adam did teach some evening classes for adult education for a few years. And
So you have to do that same background check with fingerprints to do that as well, correct?
you have to have the online background check done. As far as
I remember
fingerprints,
when I was
done.
teaching, I had to do my fingerprints.
Yeah.
So I wondered if it was kind of already done. So
I'd have to check on that. I know we do the online instant check, but as far as fingerprints go for
Maybe right there,
evening,
it's probably already.
I did not know. I was like, I don't know how
In
many
fact,
years ago it was now.
right, it may be in
Something like
place.
that. I did.
It may be, yeah.
Also, how does his experience align with the goals of that class?
Adam's experience is in really precision machining and with a little bit of engineering background to go with it. You know, the class is going to take a new direction. The program is going to take a different direction under Adam's leadership. Next month, Adam's going to be here to the board to meet everybody, do a presentation and a walkthrough of the shop floor for the board and his recommendations for changes to the program, enhancements of the program, enhancements to the shop, and how we can accomplish that in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. You know, manufacturing is not my specialty at all. I spent probably several hours with Adam through the shop. I can tell you that he knows every machine in there by name, year, model number, serial number, what needs to be changed, what should be fixed, what's good, what isn't, et cetera, everything. And so I've asked him to kind of do a tour for the board next month, you know, a 10 or 15 minute walk through the shop. And so, you know, as every teacher puts their own spin on their own program. So, you know, to get to see what that spin is going to be, but, you know, precision machining is his specialty. And when he talks about it, it's way over my head. So, you know, I have to assume that he knows what he's talking about. At least it seems that way. And, you know, he already has his curriculum laid out for the school year. And so, you know, we're going to be meeting regularly on the outcomes and goals of the program.
Any other discussion on this nomination? Okay, I just want to, I want to say that I like what Mike's doing here. He's making a recommendation that we, as a board, go to this classroom with a new teacher, and he's going to talk to us and explain to us what he's going to do. And I think that's something we should set as a precedence here. From here on out, when we hire someone new and they're coming on board as a new instructor, and let's go see them and go to their classroom and let's talk to them and let them talk to us and tell us what they envision is going to happen here. So
They're the experts in their field.
Yeah, let's set that as a precedent that this board will do that from now on when we hire new people. All those in favor of hiring Adam then for this position, please signify by raising your hand. It's unanimous, Barbara. Good. We have another one for a paraprofessional.
So move.
Moved by Leanne and seconded by Ricky. Yeah, we did do that.
Yeah, we did it.
Okay, and I want to give us a rundown on this one.
Certainly. This is, we've been without our other paras since February of this past school year. This position replaces that position. This is not a new position, it is a replacement position. For Brian Foster, Brian is also a graduate of Mount Anthony and the CDC's Forestry and Heavy Equipment Program back in the early 90s. Brian comes to us with a wealth of experience in the field, as well as he has a CDL, which will help us out immensely in driving. So he'll just need to get his passenger endorsement, which is a much easier process than CDL than passenger endorsement, bus endorsement. So we're looking forward to having Brian on board with us.
Any discussion on this? All those in favor then of Brian's nomination for the para position, please signify by raising your hand. That's unanimous, Barbara.
How many applicants were there for that?
It says
It's
five.
five, I believe there's five.
And I see on the nomination form that they're,
Yeah, I see.
they're flipped around. Yeah.
I was just
Yeah,
curious.
they're flipped around. Apologize for that.
Resignations. There are 2 in the packet. We'll start with Marie Pierre's. All I can tell you is it happened at the last board meeting, or just after that, and her resignation date, her last date was going to be before this board met. So we met as a executive committee again to do an exit interview with Marie Pierre and to accept her nomination or to make a recommendation to the board to accept her resignation. And today was, I believe, her last day on the job.
Last day in the office.
Her last day in the office, yeah. With regret, she's done one heck of a job for this school, there's no doubt about it. We all recognize that. I'll talk more about that as, when we get into the chair's report, though, as to where we're going to go with that. But I'd like any discussion on this resignation.
I'll make the motion that we accept the resignation.
All right, second?
Second.
Seconded. By Ken, all right, and any other discussion on this one? All those in favor, then let's signify by raising our hands on this. That's unanimous. The other resignation is our business instructor. It's Barbara Grabati, who's been with us for 21 years. 21 years. And she has accepted a position in the Albany area, so she will not be returning to this school.
I'll make a motion, we accept her resignation.
And that was just this past week.
Yeah,
Last week.
that's right, that came in just this past week. Can I have a second?
A second.
Seconded by Francis.
So do
Discussion?
we need a new business instructor to pick up that
Yes, we do. We have posted it.
week before the school
Weekend
begins?
before school begins. I did post the position, I want to say it was last Wednesday or Thursday, please don't hold me to the date. We have received some applications already for that. We're actually starting interviews tomorrow morning. So we have 3 candidates so far. That's a pretty quick turnaround since just middle of last week. This resignation came as a surprise, but I'm hopeful that we can fill it for the start of the school year. There are 18 students in the business management program between year 1, year 2, and what we call the partial programs. And right now, 13 students in the introductory class. So certainly, we need a replacement. There's no other way. We wouldn't want to take that loss in FTEs. There's nowhere to combine these students. I mean, there's none of that. So the business program has fluctuated over the years with enrollment, but it's also fluctuated with instructors. There's been 3 or 4 instructors in the past 4 or 5 years for business management. So, when instructors leave, programs sometimes take a hit, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. So we will see what happens. Again, I'm hopeful that we have a candidate in place for the following Monday. If not, we do have, we're working on Plan B and C for those students.
And you have Dick Addison has agreed to come in a couple of weeks if needed.
If needed, as Plan C. Mr. Addison, who was a retired marketing and business teacher, who taught with us for many, many years, has agreed to come in for the first couple of weeks if needed to help get the program going, which is very appreciated for him. That would be our Plan C.
I had a chance to look over the applicants. It looks like we have some serious and some good candidates, so I think we may be okay here. All right. So I need to vote on this resignation. All those in favor of accepting Barbara Grabati's resignation, please signify by raising your hand. That's unanimous. Okay. The Perkins Grant approval.
Perkins Grant, just as a quick update, Perkins is an entitlement grant that we receive every year from the state of Vermont on behalf of the federal government. It is awarded to us, but there is an application process that it's not just automatically given to us. We have to write a plan and basically apply for the money. Now it is a 41-page document. The grant itself is 41 pages. In your Dropbox is the summary of the grant. If anyone wants all 41 pages, I'd be happy to print it off and give it to you. It's a lot of numbers and a lot of codes and a lot of things, but you're welcome to it. I just was trying to save some space. This has to be accepted by the board every year. The monetary amount has to be reflected in the minutes. This was supposed to be in the June meeting. The state is awaiting the board's approval for this. This year's allocation amount is $185,325. That is the grant award. In the Dropbox and in the pages of the grant, there are what's called the work plan and SMART objectives. There are 3 projects. Project number 1 basically supports the CTE teacher prep program that is mandated by the state of Vermont for our teachers. Project 2 is integration of academics and technology into our programs through academic study coordinators and distance learning. And Project 3 is professional development for our staff, faculty and staff. Those are the three broad categories that encompass that $180,000. This money, if we don't spend it, Ed, you've asked this before, if you don't spend it,
It goes back.
It goes back. I will tell you that it's sometimes difficult to spend within the guidelines of the Perkins 4 and 5 requirements. So we do spend it, I would say, judiciously and cautiously, but it is part of our budget, and we do make expenditures out of it every single year. We do not spend it all every year. I can't tell you what the 185 will spend. Hopefully, all of it. It just depends on the state's final approval when we can start implementing the projects that are in.
I make the motion and we accept the allocation for
Second.
All right, it's made by Ricky and seconded by Leanne, was it? Yep.
There wasn't any equipment that we could have put into the grant for that
There are
we wouldn't ordinarily
the program.
budget for?
Now, the Perkins isn't designed necessarily for straight equipment replacements. It can
Okay.
be used for equipment as part of program enhancements and as part of gender equity and along those lines. but
Got it.
It's primarily not as many sources for equipment as we've been guided by the state.
Ricky?
How does the amount this year compared to last year?
In terms of the amount, the award
The
amount?
allotted amount.
The allotted amount is very close.
Very
I can
similar.
give you,
Well, she's looking that up. Anybody have any other concerns on the Perkins?
The other question I had is, did we give back any money?
Did we give any back last year?
We will be giving about $300 back from what we took last year because one of the bills that I was waiting for wasn't out, so I made an estimate based on a conversation with the state. We did not spend all of the grant last year. That's different than giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
300, that's not bad.
And the total award for last fiscal year was $185,325.
Very
So
simple,
it's
very simple.
by nature, a lot of the
It's a
part of
formula grant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, some centers receive much more money than this, and some receive much less. And it's based on enrollment, it's based on your community, population income. It's a complicated formula, but the state has a formula, and this is what they tell us you get. And it does vary a little bit every year. So some centers are close to $500,000.
Any further
We should
discussion?
find out what they're doing.
Much bigger centers.
Any other discussion? All those in favor then accepting the Perkins grant to be submitted to the state as presented? That's unanimous, Barb. All right. Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. We'll have a lot of things to report on. I'll try to keep it brief so we can have a new agenda here. I want to start off with the new school year. Last time we met it was in June. We're meeting today. School starts for teachers next Wednesday, 24th. We have 3 days of in-service, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Monday, August 29th, students return to the building and we'll be back in full swing. The first time that I can ever remember, we have a first full week of school with students. Normally it's a shortened week. This will be the first time that I can ever remember we have 5 full days right up there with students. So we're looking forward to that, having students back in the building. This year, for those who have been on the board for a while, we are due for our NEASC decennial review, our 10-year accreditation by NEASC already. Believe it or not. It is this coming spring, which sounds like a long time away, but starting the in-service, we'll have Bruce Sievers, who is the director for NEASC here, presenting to us on what we need to do to help prepare our decennial report, which is a big undertaking. It is recommended that by Linda Jackson, who you've met at least remotely and working with for school improvement, that we do not lose our accreditation, that we keep that. It's important to have. Linda has agreed to to come in and work with us in November to help us work with the new standards of NEASC and kind of get our ducks in a row for that visit. It will be a 5-day visit here with a team of 10 to 12 people probably. They have revamped the standards for career and technical schools. It used to be under one umbrella for just high schools, secondary, and they've revamped it specifically for CTE centers for things that don't apply. Like we don't have a library, for example. We don't. Our attached high school is a library, so we used to be judged on those types of standards. It'll be a lot of work for the staff to pull off a disciplinary review. It's going to take a lot of our time and focus for this upcoming year. And those that have been around know it is a lengthy process to report. So that is coming up. This summer, for the first time, we ran some summer camps this summer, or attempted to run some summer camps. We had 5. One with our partnership for the New Experiences Camp with the Police Department, Sheriff's Office, local public safety. We did make front news on that for our day here on July 25th. We spent 24 students spent Monday here with us going through 4 different programs for the day. And some of these were repeat students, some were new students. Of the 24, I had them show their hand how many were here last year, how many enrolled in a short block class for next year, and more than half of them were. And it was from being involved with that summer camp. So we know that's a great partnership to continue. The students continued on for the rest of the week through team building activities, whitewater rafting, personal safety, those types of things. So I think the banner covered it actually every day in the paper. It's a great partnership that we have, and we'll continue that in the future. We had 4 other camps that were scheduled to run as CDC-sponsored camps. 3 didn't run due to little to no enrollment or interest. It's our first year. We advertised a lot for it. We didn't put them out until May, so hopefully next year we can put it out earlier and maybe have some more signups. But one thing I did notice this summer is there are a lot of opportunities for students in the area for summer-type camps. I saw things at Lake Perrin, things with UCS. There are a lot of activities for students, and I think getting our foot in the door is where we just continue to go with it. Our projector is down in here this evening, so I printed out photos for you. Meg did this for me, so thank you, Meg. One camp did run this summer that we did, and we're very proud of it, our Building Wild Camp, with our partnership with Forestry, Natural Resources, and Building Trades. Down in Pownell, students came here on a Monday morning early, provided them lunch, breakfast, snacks. They spent all day milling logs and building an Adirondack-style lean-to down in Pownell for 5 full days from beginning to end with an overnight on Thursday. I visited the site every single day. I drove down there. Got my car stuck one day, but I got out. And to see the pride in the 5 students that completed the camp, it was absolutely amazing to see what they did. It is a big structure, much larger than even I thought it was going to be. It's a big lean-to, all custom made by the students at the direction of Brian Kuhn and David Betts. It was truly amazing to see. So the photos are there.
Where is it?
It is down in a privately owned community in Pownell. So it's not necessarily for public viewing. That was one of the, not a complaint, one of our feedbacks. So it'd be really nice if next year if we do something similar, maybe we could do it in a public area where students' names could be on it, and the public would get to see it.
For the parking lot for the Appalachian Trail.
Right. I know there were some lessons learned from this. Some feedback from Dave said, it took us a lot longer than I thought, and thank God we had some really hard workers because it wouldn't have been accomplished. It was a lot to mill. They were just raw lumber. Where next year, if this runs again, he said we might have my students in the days of the program make more of a log kit, so it's easier to put together for these students. I mean, these were just raw timbers that everything was sawed on site. It's pretty amazing. The other side of the handout, there are just some photos from our one-day summer camp. If you go on Facebook, look at SBCDC, you'll see a lot more pictures and a lot more activity than what we have here to show you tonight. If you like the Bennington Police Department's Facebook page, there's also links on there for all 5 days of our interactions and new experiences camp. There's a lot of really cool things. So I think that this was a good first run, and
And the age group for this was?
the target age range was grades 7 to 9. We actually took a student who was younger than that. They wanted in. One of their friends was taking the building model camp, and Brian and David said, sure, we'll take a younger student. So we wanted to run, and we wanted 6 people. We had 5, and we ran. So.
And next year, would you take older students also?
Probably. I mean, our target is that 7 to 9 to get them interested in this. But we could certainly run maybe a more advanced camp at a less advanced.
What about an adult student? I almost signed up. I wanted to sign up for this. It looked so good to me. I wanted to do this. I really did.
I think the Ed committee can make that recommendation to the board, and we
Well,
can,
parents might want to sign up with them.
that can very well happen, as long as they pay for the fee, there's no reason why they can't.
Who paid for the materials for the roofing?
We did it, Ed, that was part of the package, that was in the vendor, the expenses associated with the,
Our board budgeted $10,000 last for this school year for summer camps, and this is part of that. We also had grant money available for the Bennington Idea Fund which helped offset the cost of running the camp for students that
for students,
applied.
For student tuition, that's right. We did spend some of that.
We did.
I understand.
I wasn't complaining, I was just
Yeah, I know. It was a good. It's a good start, and I think we can only go uphill with this for next summer. Expand it, like Leon says, for adults and maybe even parents.
Okay, we had advertised for a second building trade instructor for this school year. We are not going to be filling that position for this school year as it stands right now. We had plenty of applicants for it. We actually interviewed for it. We were ready for a second round of interviews, and we started looking as schedules happened, enrollment happened, attrition happened. It just wasn't justifiable to bring another instructor on this year. I'm disappointed in that, but I think it's the right decision to make. We did not need a second instructor at this point. So if you don't see a nomination, that's why. This summer, we have made a major shift in our grade book and online portal. Actually happened at the end of the school year. It's been a whole year being implemented to a new online grade book system. We had a train-the-trainer session here in July for our teachers. It's a completely new grade book. Similar to our old one, but much more advanced with mobile access capability, etc. So the feedback from the training was that the training seemed long, but the grade book looks very interesting and easy to use. So we're looking forward to that, as well as bringing an online parent portal, hopefully to be online by late fall. It's been some stumbling blocks to get up and going with the staff that we have currently. It's just been a lot of work for one person to make happen. So it will come online. The school, if you haven't been through it, every summer we have our waxing, shampooing, cleaning, etc. The maintenance staff has done, again, an amazing job. They pull every classroom out, empty it, strip floors, wax them, and we're very fortunate to have the facilities we really do have. Not every school gets pulled apart and waxed and shampooed every summer, and this one does. Every room is touched, and they've done an amazing job. It's always fun navigating a building, figuring out what hallway you can walk down and you can't, based on wax that we think is wet or dry. So there's that. We have made changes, if you're following us on Facebook, for the campus store for next year. We've done kind of a renovation and an about face in the campus store and what our offerings are. It's not ready yet, so check it out on Facebook. There are some preview photos down there. Becoming less and less of a store per se, and turning into more customer service and into specialty coffees and things like that. It's been a shift with the healthy food guidelines that happened 2 years ago and really implemented last year. The store had become, despite a lot of work from the instructors to bring in products that met the guidelines, just really became kind of a ghost town. And so we saw a need for a change in it. The students are excited about it. It's amazing what a little bit of paint goes a long way to make something look very different. So it is really coming together nice down there. So the campus store will still be called the campus store, but we have 321 Perk is going to be the name at the campus store. So 321 Perk at the campus store. A play on coffee as well as a play on our address, which is 321 Park Street. So students helped design some of that back in the spring. We kind of kept it under wraps. We're hoping for a big unveiling here in the opening of the school year. Forestry milled all the tables for us that'll be in there, everything. So it's been a lot of homegrown work internally to make those changes to the store. We're pretty excited about it. So check out our Facebook. There's some sneak peek photos on it.
And when it's complete, maybe we can take a tour out
Absolutely.
there as well.
Yeah, there are much less product. Really, again, focused on beverages and small snacks, soups, things like that we can work with culinary with. Meeting with the Abbey group tomorrow to talk about some options as well. So just a little bit of a change. When we see things that, despite hard work, aren't working, we can't just keep looking at it and saying, "Why isn't it working?" It's time to make changes. Jim mentioned security access in the building. Security work, I'd say a phase one of many phases has been complete. It was almost completed by the last time the board met. But today was one of the final day. I think Leon and Ed had this question, both from Anthony and our board, about interchangeability and interoperability of the system in the event that the campus does need to be locked down for whatever reason that may be. Today, the final switch, so to speak, if you will, was installed in the Anthony office and the CDC office that allows that instant lockdown of the doors that are on the system by literally a push of a button. The entire campus, not just one building or the other. We were trained on that today. It's not hard, but when you do push the button, it does trigger things in the system that need to be overridden later on. I don't want to get into it on TV. But it's an advanced system that we're just starting to scrape the capabilities of, and I look at this as many more things to come down the road. You just had to start somewhere. So it will be a change for students, faculty, staff, and the public becoming to a building that is much more secure than it was in the past. We are looking at additional electronic locks and fob access to additional exterior doors. I have had Paul Danstro continue to work with the Royal Group and give us some pricing on what that looks like for budgeting purposes going forward. I think it's something we need to have done in the next year or two and not continue on for the next 5-6 years adding on. It just needs to get done. Also, the building trades roof section, the forest roof section are done, minus the warranty paperwork, but it's really just a final look through. So I have more things, but I'll leave it at that. And also, one more thing in the Dropbox, I wanted to show you what our investment's been doing in our network. Over the last 2 years, we have made major investments in our computer network, both through back-end upgrades as well as kind of more front-end upgrades. Monthly, we get health reports from SimQuest, who we contract with for our server score. Just as a point of interest in there, I have June and July, so we get these every single month. Our June network score was 96% with 100% uptime, and our July score was 99% with a 96.7% uptime of servers. That's great. And every month we're running between 92 and 98% of uptime capacity for our network. That's important, and I think that our continued investment in our network is important, and we'll need to continue to do that. In the last board meetings, in the last comment, we bought new computer labs. I think it was $18,000. I looked in the minutes. Those labs are in place and functional, and our IT person who works alone has reconfigured almost every lab in this building, whether it's been upgraded, refurbished, moved, etc., including replacement of all of our switches, which is it's a big feat. So those have all been done. So thank you for the support for the infrastructure upgrades. It's really important as a career tech center that we are on top of technology.
Please express our thank yous to her as well for the job she's done this summer in that area. It is quite an accomplishment.
And Nick?
Yep, I don't have a long list either, but just wanted to update you on some things that we've been doing as a team. The first thing is at the end of June, the guidance coordinator and the special needs coordinator and I completed a course through Vermont Tech on career and tech ed law, policy, and equity. And at the end of the course, there was a culminating project that we all had to come up with. And interestingly enough, all three of us chose to focus on non-traditional students. So Tom comes back, Tom's our guidance coordinator, he comes back tomorrow. He and I are going to meet to go over different things that came up in each of our projects to really start develop a plan around how do we recruit, how do we get people interested. So that will be coming in the near future. We also, Mike and I had attended a training that we talked about in June. I just want to refresh your memory that it was called High in Plain Sight. And the focus of the training was for us to be able to recognize clothing and paraphernalia that might promote drugs or alcohol. So we'll be using that. It was informational, but it was also educational, and it was what was nice about the training was the Mount Anthony Security Management Team attended, Mike and I attended, and the Bennington Police Department also attended. The officers that are here on campus with us. So we'll use the information just to assist us and to give us maybe some more information on the student body. Last month, Stephanie, Mike, and I went to an administrator's training on best practices with staff and teachers when you're conducting evaluations and developing performance improvement plans. I think what was good about that is we're a new admin team, and so to have the three of us hear the same training and to be able to use in our conversations around policies or procedures or past practices, how we can improve, that's important. And that's kind of it. Today was my first full day.
Welcome back.
But I hit the ground running.
I just want to touch on the training that we went to. I know we talked about it in June, the High in Plain Sight. It was probably one of the best trainings I've been to in a very, very long time. Really had our eyes open to things that are right in front of us every single day that we may not pick up on. And it was a full 8-hour training, but I learned something new, it seemed like every 5 minutes at the training. So it was great that we went as a team with the CDC, the MAU security team, members from the police department. I mean, it was a big showing from this area up in St. Joseph's College, so it was really excellent.
Okay. That's it, Mike?
Yes.
Good. Nice report from both of you. Thank you. Ken?
I just want to bring up 2 dates. The Vermont School Board Association is having a regional meeting right here on the October 11th at the CDC. I assume they contacted you to reserve a date, I hope.
I'm sure Sandy has on the calendar. I'll check with her in the morning.
Okay. And the VSBA is going to hold their, that'll be at 5 o'clock, because they usually have refreshments to start, and then they have the meeting. And the VSBA annual meeting will be October 20th and 21 at Lake Maury. And that's always interesting, and I don't know how they work it here. October, yeah, I don't know how they work. I know Bennington, we go see Mary Lee in the central office. I don't know who we check here. They want to register.
Is it with Sandy?
Yeah, check with anybody that wishes to register for any of those dates, those courses. You're certainly welcome to do so, okay? Because we do have provided to train the school board members on that.
I went last year for the first time, and I was very impressed, particularly for the presentations on healthcare.
Good, very good.
And I think this year, because there might be a change involved, I urge everybody to go.
Everybody.
I think that'll be the regional meeting, the focus will probably be Act 46 and healthcare.
On the 11th.
Can I just emailed Sandy to verify the room will be
Okay,
done.
thank you.
And the two-day meeting, which is at Lake Moria on the 20th and 21st, you're certainly welcome to attend those. If you do attend, and I've attended those in the past, it is good that you come back and brief the board on what takes place there too, because there's a lot of information that goes out at those meetings as well, by the Agency of Education as well as by the School Board Association.
You've attended in the past, it's been helpful.
We have, that's right. Yeah, we probably will again this year. Is there any other business? Yes.
One other thing, Mike, you know if there's anybody in the SPSU that knows how to set up a drop box?
I'm sure someone from the tech department can,
Because I think this is such a, valuable thing to have, that everything is right here. You don't need to, go searching for it, which is difficult sometimes. You don't have to send, because some people get a package and stuff, and this summarizes everything in one spot. I think it's a great idea.
You want it for the BSD?
Yeah, I think so.
You're talking about our technology that we employ here, as
Yeah.
opposed to what the BSD or the
Yes,
SBS
that's
does.
yes.
Yeah, and Mike's right, that can be done at that
I'll
level.
check with Frank.
Check with Frank Barnes, yeah.
Dropbox, there are several online sharing applications. Dropbox is just one of them. Google Drive can also be set up on a mobile device that'll act just like Dropbox. And we've had some growing pains with that. The organization-wise and what order they go in and whatnot. And I think we're getting better at it. But we were always paper before. We've been digital for 2 or 3 years now. But sometimes things don't go in the way we want them to. But thank you.
We do have to go into an executive session for a couple of reasons. We were going to look at some contracts this evening, and we're also going to discuss a personnel issue. So can I have a motion to move to executive session?
Second.
Moved by Francis, seconded by Ricky, all in favor. We'll go next door. We'll not come back to conduct any other business.